What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Fifth Down Territory, sponsored by Stadium Rant. It's Tuesday evening, and you already know who it is. It's the boys hanging another week at Bahookie, Montana, at Noble. Nolan's back with us at Stadium Rant HQ Tyler, and at VL Stewart 503, coming at you to talk another week of football. And we're running head first into the next week, just like Tua on my Grammy. Okay. A diabolical week for memes. If Will Levis was still playing right now, I feel like it truly might have been the best meme week of all time. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
He's coming back. Don't worry, he's coming back this week.
I'm just saying, I feel like we are hitting the perfect solstice where it's Michael Thomas is gonna sign with some team in the league that think if he can still tweet at this high of a level, his CTE isn't bad enough that he should be retired yet. And so
he sprained his thumb sending those tweets. Didn't you hear that? He can't stay healthy. Yeah. I don't know what to tell him.
We are officially hitting the part of the season where it's family members are attacking coaches and quarterbacks, and tis the season.
Response. He was generally upset that Michael Thomas doesn't like him. He's like, I've had a lot of teammates, and he's the only person that's really that hasn't liked me.
I saw an interesting stat that was sad. Most losses by quarterback through a number of NFL seasons, and it was 1 season David Carr, 2 seasons David Carr, 3 seasons David Carr, 4 seasons Derek Carr, 5 seasons Derek Carr, and it just went like that. Derek Carr was the rest.
The whole family is just
they quite truly might be the most legendary NFL brothers of all time, but for all the wrong reasons. I promise you, the Watt brothers and the Carr brothers are the furthest spectrum of NFL family you could get.
The McCourtys?
The McCourtys, but they played at a high level sometimes.
The McCourtys are smack dab in the middle of that spectrum.
They weren't elite, but they were good.
Yeah, Devin was elite.
Devin was a sicko.
But but that's the thing. Sometimes you got a sibling who's good and a sibling who's bad, so their net values in the middle. Think of the Griffin brothers.
Jason was never bad, but he was never the bestest. He was always a solid QB or a CB2 or an excellent slot cornerback. But yeah, hey, they won a Super Bowl together against the Rams. Jason McCourty won that game for us. I don't care what anybody says. He stopped that Brandon Cooks catch. That was one of the best recoveries I've ever seen in a football game in my life.
Yeah, that's a good discussion. Best football family. I'd have to sit and think about that one. But those are good couple few there.
But so this week I think we have to start by talking about the trade deadline. Which was actually more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So there's a couple minor ones we won't get into. But we started the day. Lions opened it up by trading for Zadarius Smith. They send a 5th and a 6th, I think, to get Smith and a 7th. I like this move, right? Super Bowl window's open. You lost touch, replace some production on the line. I don't think Zadarius is playing at as high of a level as he did last year. But I still think he's got some juice, and I think as a rotational player for this defense, he's going to add a lot to a front that needs some superstars. What would you guys grade this trade? Just high level.
This trade to me just screams. It screams the Kyle Van Noy trade to the Patriots. I mean, it's Darius Smith. You're getting a 7th back. You're giving up a 5th and a 6th. That's a pick swap, and you're giving up a 5th for Smith, and that dude's going to come in there ready to play. Smith's always been a really good player. He's going to I think it's a really good move by the Lions, and Lions get pretty decent compensation, a 5th and a 6th for a player on a contract aging.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll let you guys speak on the next one. Cowboys traded a 4th to get Jonathan Mingo from the Panthers. Nolan, you're kind of a quasi Cowboys fan. Can you weigh in on this? What do you think of this move?
How much can I cut?
You can go 0. But after this, I would like Lamb to parallel how he feels about this trade with how he felt about a dynasty trade I made yesterday.
Absolutely.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah.
So I mean,
horrible.
You have to think Mingo's starting caliber, like wide receiver 2, 3-ish for a fourth. Do we feel that way about him? They've got Brandon Cooks, they've got CeeDee Lamb, so he's really a 3.
Well,
Cooks
Brandon
hasn't been
Cooks
super
is on
productive.
IR right now, so I mean,
okay.
It's. I would have been more fine with this if we gave up like a 6th or a 7th. That would have would have been fine. A 4th, considering Dallas hasn't really needed or made much use out of early round picks for a couple of years. They've been making a lot more of their splash picks in rounds 3 and 4. They have had some good ones. Obviously, your Zach Martins and companies that you got earlier on in a draft a few years ago. But other than that, you're giving up a lot of value for somebody that has done basically nothing in the NFL, and you're hoping that because Jerry Jones liked him on draft night a year or two ago, that he's just going to automatically do it for your team. I think it's idiotic. I think it's stupid, and I don't understand what Dallas is doing. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't want to go off on a major tangent. I have a lot of shit I could say about him right now, but
no, it's okay. Don't worry. Cooper Rush is going to unlock Jonathan Mingo, and that offense is going to work really well under Mike McCarthy. Because, I knew that Mike McCarthy was going to be the answer for you guys from day one. I just knew it. I really did.
So I would obviously, I don't know that anybody loves this trade
except
the
Jerry
Cowboys,
Jones.
But I like it a good bit for the Panthers. I think this is impeccable return. I think James Coker, Xavier Legette have showed you some really good things. So you're gonna try and get a vet in free agency. Probably they traded. It's crazy to me they got less for Deontay Johnson, with cap flexibility than they did Jonathan Mingo. That is something to behold. So
I got another one for you. The Cowboys themselves got less for Amari Cooper than they did for Jonathan Mingo. They got a full round, or I'm sorry, they paid a full round more for him than they gave away Cooper to the Browns.
Yeah,
I'll
never understand it. So here's my bigger issue is that Dak's on IR, so I think this team has a really good chance of they're quite literally not winning the division by 2 slots. So maybe you sneak in as like the 6th, 7th seed if you can do that.
So you want to know what they should do? You want to know what they should realistically?
Or Trey Lance out there and tank.
Yep, and guess what? You draft Shedeur Sanders, you fire Mike McCarthy, and you bring old prime time up to Dallas, and you make a statement.
I don't think they're going to have a high enough pick to get
Shedeur.
They've won 3 games at this point, or 2
games. There's a lot. They got Cooper Rush for the next 4. It's looking like I don't think this team.
I'm just I don't know. I genuinely don't know that the Titans win another game. So at the very least, they're picking before you, and they need a quarterback.
It's okay because if the Pats get first overall pick and the Cowboys come and knocking like that, ooh, yeah. Now we're talking. Now
Jerry's not smart enough for that.
So moving on from that. The Commanders made a splash today, moving to a different team in the NFC East, and they traded for Marshawn Lattimore. I believe they gave up.
I'm glad the rest of the NFC East knows what the hell they're doing. Good for them.
Somebody remind me, did they give a 3rd for Lattimore?
They got a 5th though, so it's like Lattimore. No, I'm sorry, Lattimore and a 6th for a 3rd and a 5th. They got the 3rd, though, from the Jahan Dotson trade. They got a 5th from another player that they traded. So it's essentially free for them to pick up. Yeah.
And I think, capitalize on this window. I would have liked to see them also add maybe another piece on the line, but they did draft a really talented DT at the top of the second round, I believe, who hasn't even played yet.
Jerzon Newton, right?
Jerzon Newton. Mm-hmm. Thank you. I couldn't remember his name, but I remember seeing him go there. So he's got an injury, but there's a chance he's here, available later in the season. I don't know if he's ineligible for this year or not, but so
young cornerback group too. You have Emmanuel Forbes. You have
now gets to play a 2 role instead of a 1 role.
Lattimore too. Like Lattimore brings this like pro presence, like a veteran leadership, and he seems like a guy who's gonna like help his teammates. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Bahookie can back me up on this, right? The biggest upside of this trade is now there's a chance we get to see Mike Evans and Marshawn Lattimore playoff football.
That's a good one. They are known to fight quite a bit. I saw a couple memes with Mike Evans standing on the tarmac as Marshawn Lattimore gets ready to leave the NFC South.
One last swing before you go.
But
we're doing this again.
I also had another piece that I wanted to add to this. The other 2 teams that were in on him that didn't get him, which is also good news for both of us, the Chiefs and the Ravens, who both could have used a little bit of help with their secondary. Didn't get the deal done. I heard some reports. I don't know how true it is or isn't that the Chiefs had a deal basically agreed, and then the Commanders came in and like outbid them at the last second, and they're like, "All right, that's the deal." That was something I saw, and I don't know how valid it may or may not be. But bottom line, he's in the NFC, and the Ravens and Chiefs are going to have to roll with who they got on the back end.
Yeah.
The Steelers acquisitions, then we can move into the rest of the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the Steelers. Oh, good.
Yeah, Steelers got some spare parts from the Jets. Mike Williams had no role with that team at this point. Steelers had.
He dropped one Aaron Rodgers pass, and Aaron Rodgers decided to freeze him out. He wasn't a part of his clique anymore. He was like, "Nah."
Even though Devontae Adams,
all the best to Mike Williams in Pittsburgh. Should be a good piece for Russell Wilson. There's a need.
It's a little left. I'm not saying it's going to come in and be like a massive moot, but he offers them something that they don't really have. That means they can move Pickens into the slot, have Williams outside, and you get Pickens on some better matchups, and maybe have his route tree develop a little bit more doing that.
And I think the most underrated part of this is Mike Williams' best ball is Russell Williams' best ball. Russell Wilson. What the heck am I saying? Russell Wilson's best ball, and that's the deep shot. Russell Wilson throws a beautiful deep ball. Mike Williams loves catching a deep ball. That's just a match made in heaven. That was the first thing I saw when I traded it. They also traded a 7th to the Packers for Preston Smith. He's having a down year. That felt more just like a luxury, maybe they just think he's better than the price tag that he was being sold for. It's a bit of a puzzler to me. It's just some depth, I guess. They think as they get into the season, they might want to rest some of these guys. Rich get richer. The story of, So, and the Bills made a couple. I think the Bills made a smaller. They obviously got Amari Cooper earlier. DeAndre Hopkins goes earlier. So AFC's loading up. My Texans did not. That's fine. But the big in the AFC are getting ready to go at it come playoff time, and I think that that's good for football.
Yeah, the Bills have 2 open roster spots now. They cut Mike Edwards today, was a safety who'd been a healthy scratch, and they had to send one of their guys to the IR as well earlier this week. So there's some strong rumors. It looks like Jordan Phillips is going to be returning as a defensive tackle for the Bills. And there's a non-zero probability that Micah Hyde might be coming out of retirement.
Wow. It's crazy.
I also saw this. The Ravens actually did bring in a bit of secondary help. They traded
Davius White.
Yeah, they brought in White. He's definitely lost a step or two for sure. But
he's one of my favorite players, but he's just not the same guy.
He's old. That just corner's a hard position to play at any age, and then
back-to-back season-ending injuries.
Yeah, especially after injuries like that.
The old legs don't bend as much.
One quick thought on the Preston Smith thing. I think that for Green Bay, a lot of people are like, oh, why are you trading Preston Smith for a 7th? And it's just like, well, they drafted Van Ness in the first round a couple years back, and I've seen him make some plays in his rotational role, and I think I think he might be ready for like that step up as like a full-time player. And they're like, let's just get a draft pick back, get this guy's money off our salary, and give Lucas the spot. And for the Steelers, they have great pass rushers, but being able to give TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith a break and having Preston Smith come out there on that break, I feel like that's like a pretty valuable piece to have and be able to use in those spots.
Yeah. So that kind of leads us into, I guess, the rest of the conversation, which is who do you guys think the big 3 are now in each conference? We've seen 8-9 weeks of football. We've seen the trade deadline go. So who are your big 3? Go AFC first. Why don't you start us off, Bahookie? Who do you think we'll see in the deep rounds of AFC playoffs?
Kansas City is still undefeated. They're the back-to-back champs, and they deserve some respect. It's been funny the way Kansas City's been doing it. It's not really like that flashy of a variety compared to what we've seen from them in the past. But what really separates them is their ability to pick up first downs. They're like the best in the league at it, and it's funny because like the Bills have been shifting their offense kind of towards this identity too, and like people who are betting and trying to play the overs and everything get frustrated because this is what winning looks like. Their defense is as good as ever. Steve Spagnuolo is still at the top of his game. They still got Chris Jones. Is really one of the big things. I still have my questions about the Bills here. I was the only one who left them out of my top 3. I also, and we'll get to the NFC later, but I think with the Bills have a lot of questions about their run defense. And the back end has been better than I expected, but we still haven't really beaten anyone that good. If you look at the collection of our 7 wins, the Cardinals are the best team that we beat. We went up against you guys. We went up against the Ravens, and they ran it down our throat. I'm kind of nervous about this road game going to Indianapolis this week against another good rushing attack between a divisional rival game and the big Kansas City game next week. Like this is I think a tougher spot than people realize, and they're a better team than.
Could be a look ahead spot for sure. They could be looking ahead to that KC game. Absolutely, that could be a dangerous spot for them.
So yeah, and the Ravens. I still think the Texans are kind of still figuring out their new pieces. The Ravens, I feel like, have put it together. They have a real formidable identity here. And Nico Collins is supposed to come back this week or next week.
We'll see if he's back. They the extra rest days, but they said he was running 20 miles per hour in his test yesterday, which seems like a good sign for a hamstring injury. So I mean, those are the teams I'm looking up at right now. And after watching that Bills Texans game, I think you guys got a lot of attention this offseason about a lot of the pieces on the outside that you added. But 2 of the pieces that I was most intrigued by were Danielle Hunter and Danico Autry. And
they're playing like animals.
Yeah, your guys' defensive line is really formidable. And I was hoping the Bills might swing for a defensive tackle. The top of our wish list was Jeffrey Simmons. That was never really realistic. The rushing attack of Kansas City with their 12 personnel, the combination of Derrick Henry, and the Ravens are running 12 personnel too with Likely and Andrews, and then you got the Texans over here. I have my concerns about how the Bills match up against those teams. At least at this point. Doesn't mean they're not able to. We know what kind of team they are, but I'm still like this is still our rebuild year. Which is kind of crazy. We're sitting here at 7-2, and we're fortunate that we're in an absolutely dog shit division. Just to put it lightly.
I'll go quickly next. So I actually have I saw 3 with the Chiefs. That's totally fair. Like that totally could be right as well. I have the Ravens here. Only as long as the Ravens show up and do the right thing, which is have a very, very aggressive usage of Derrick Henry. Like you use Derrick Henry, and then by the fourth quarter, when you're using Lamar Jackson, people are just so tired from tackling Derrick Henry that they're not going to want to chase Lamar or tackle Derrick Henry. And I think that's how you wear down the Chiefs, and that's how you beat the Chiefs is you keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes, you keep the ball in the hands of Henry, Lamar, and you run a ton of plays, you keep time of possession, you wear that defense down. And if they want to do that and like forget about the whole Justice Hill bullshit when it comes to time to the playoffs and like ready to like go to the Super Bowl and like show up, dude. Like make sure you have an alien on your team. You use them. If they do that, then they're the best team in the AFC and possibly the best team in the NFL. Their secondary is an issue, but their offense can score, and then their defense is not going to give up 30 points every week. They're too consistent for that. Then it's the Chiefs at 2 for me. I mean, obviously they're undefeated. They probably should be at 1, but there's just something about it. Like it feels really good right this second, but I don't know if they're gonna be able to win every single game by scoring 27 points. Like I just don't know if they're gonna be able to do that when it comes crunch time. And then it's the Bills for me. Yeah, I know they have concerns against the running back. They're actually one of the worst teams against running back receptions as well. Their linebacking play just hasn't been very good, and that's on injuries. Is like
Matt Milano might be back in December. We'll see.
That would be a massive for this team. Massive if he comes back right. But I just still think you have Josh Allen. Now you're building a running game. You have multiple weapons.
The offense is more sustainable than it's ever been before.
Absolutely, and Amari Cooper dictates the offense, like the defense, which gives Shakir free reign under the middle, Kincaid free reign under the middle, cook the flats, and then you get Coleman on the outside as well. So like you have all of your pieces now. And everything's like Ray Davis is a really good secondary piece there. So yeah, I'm liking how their offense is put together, and they're just again like the Ravens, hard-nosed football team. Like yeah, you might be able to run on them week to week, but maybe when it comes down to it, they're gonna play hard and they're gonna be in the right spot for the most part. So like they're like it comes down to quarterback play and Lamar, Patrick Mahomes. That is what it is, man.
Yeah, I'll go next. I have Chiefs is my 1 for obvious reasons. The undefeated Andy Reid is as much of an X factor for this team as Patrick Mahomes, and I don't think that gets talked about enough.
The combination between him and Spagnuolo is aggressive too.
And then just the adaptability. Like we lose an offensive piece, we're gonna bring in retired Kareem Hunt. Like I promise you guys, Kareem Hunt is not that guy. They're just running a great scheme. They're getting him yards, and that's how you have success in the NFL. I've got the Ravens at 2 because they just can't put it together against the Chiefs for some reason, but they put it together against everybody else. Don't ask me how the Raiders beat this team, but they are. I mean, Lamar looks better than his MVP season, either of his MVP seasons, in my opinion. He's playing at an elite level. Derrick Henry's playing at an elite level. The secondary's finally coming together, I think, for them a little bit. Zay Flowers is emerging as a wide receiver 1. They added Deontay Johnson, who we haven't really seen yet. So they're my 2 far and away. And then at 3, I've got a tie between the Bills and the Texans. I lean more Bills than Texans here. It just depends. If the offensive line is a huge red flag for me for the Texans, if they don't figure out how to fix it, they're not going to make it past wild card round. It's too easy to get pressure on the interior. It's hard to set up any plays when you can't do anything. My concern with the Bills is the opposite side of the coin. I think their defensive line is a little too soft. And I think if either of those teams can fix their weakness come playoff time, that'll be the team to beat, in my opinion. Outside of the two.
Yeah, and our defensive line, we have decent edges. I think Greg Russo's emerging. Von Miller's coming back, starting to play better. But our pass rush has been something that we've really invested capital and free agency and draft picks in. And every single year, they have disappeared in the playoffs and not been a factor. If you think back to any Bills playoff game that you watched over the last few years, how many of those games was their defensive line a factor?
Yeah.
The answer
and I want to 2 things I want to point out for the Texans that I think are elevating them a little bit above maybe a Steelers pick or something for me. I think fundamentally they have not played their best football yet. I feel like the Steelers are playing at the ceiling. I feel like the Texans are playing at their floor. So it just depends on what team shows up. But also I think Will Anderson Jr. is playing as a defensive player of the year candidate right now. He's having an incredible season. He is a problem for a lot of teams. And I think if CJ can get on pace and he can get on pace. What do you think, Noel? Who are your 3?
One quick thing about what Bahookie said. I like to think about the times a few years back where there just weren't that many Bills playoff games to watch. I remember those were better times for me. But moving forward.
Okay. Chiefs are 1 for me until I see anything otherwise. I mean, is it pretty? No. Is it productive? Yeah. And they're winning games. It's simple as that. I mean, they have managed to flip a bad situation that could have derailed a lot into continuing to win games and continuing to be productive. And I wouldn't even say that they're slowing down, because every week you see bits and pieces that were bad are getting better, and they're undefeated. Like that there's levels to this. And I think that's why they're 1 for me until I see something else.
Damn,
he said there's levels to this. Yeah.
You don't have to be the best team in the NFL every week. You just got to be the best team on the field that week.
That is how they operate. They, until it comes down to playing somebody in a Super Bowl, it's whoever we're playing this week. I don't care. They don't care what anybody else is doing. Whatever we got to do this week to win another game and go 1-0. That's how they operate, and that's where they're at. 2, I do have Ravens. I'm on the same boat. If they can put it together, yes, absolutely 100% they are, I would say, a bigger threat this year to Kansas City than they were last year.
Absolutely.
And so, there's no doubt about that. They
didn't have Derrick Henry last year.
Everywhere. Oh, yeah. So, Ravens at 2, and then I'm going to put Texans at 3 just because they are starting to get some of their guys back. I mean, you could swap out. I'm same boat. Swap out Bills or Texans. You kind of pick. I'll go Texans right now if they can continue to put it together. Like Louie said, O-line is a big, big problem. And I said that on last week's show that was a red flag for me that they can't protect C.J. Stroud. This offense looks a lot different than if he's protected and he has time to find guys. So that's where I'm sitting on my top 3. I know it's very cliche, but Chiefs are 1, Ravens 2, Texans 3 for me right now.
So let's roll into the NFC now. Halfway through, who's your big 3 in the NFC? Real quick, I'm gonna read mine. I'm Lions 1. I think I'm going to make a change here. I think I'm going Commanders 2. And I'm going to go Eagles 3. So it's different than what I have on the show sheet, but looking at it, I just didn't feel good about it. I think the Commanders are the second best team in the NFC. I think the Eagles are pushing a better pace right now than the Falcons. And I think the Lions are just playing near perfect football. Like, I genuinely don't look at this team and think, oh, they need to do this different. Like, the aggressiveness, the mindset, the tackling, everything is perfect. The celebration.
Playing nearly perfect football as well. Like, what, since their bye week or maybe a week before that, he's been nearly perfect. He actually had a perfect game. Like, he played a perfect game as a quarterback.
That's insane. It really is not.
Going into Lambeau and winning a game is one thing, but to go into Lambeau in the goddamn pouring rain and horrible conditions and still almost throw a perfect.
They beat the Titans by 45 points, and they scored they had 12 passing yards or something. It was a ridiculous. They scored 9 points from passing.
They have multiple ways to beat teams, and that's scary.
Campbell is just their dudes run through a wall for him, and they have embodied his mentality, identity, and just personality. And man, dude, it's just so refreshing to watch that team play football. They just don't care. Brian Branch laid that dude out. They threw him out of the game, and Dan Campbell was probably still yeah, that was a great hit, bro. Just giving him the quick knuckles, just yo, see you later, good shit.
Go shower up, good shit, bud.
I don't pay that fine. Don't you worry about that fine.
I don't want you to hurt that guy, but good shit. That was fire. You took his helmet instead of his kneecap. I love that.
I think one of the best things I heard during the broadcast was when Aaron Glenn is standing there and his glasses are all fogged up and covered in rain. They're like, how does he see the field and call anything? They're like, he doesn't need to see it. He knows it's going to happen for him. And it's like, wow. That's the level they're at right now.
All right, Louie, who was going? Who was talking?
Let's do Bahookie next.
All right. Yeah, I also went with Lions as number one here. Lions might be the best team in the NFL right now. Yeah, they might. We're talking about how they're very multiple in their attack, and in all of their attacks, they're multiple too. They'll grind you out with David Montgomery for 20 carries before you even remember, oh yeah, they still have Jahmyr Gibbs, and then he comes in, and yeah, they're scary. They really could be in the Super Bowl this year. I was pretty, and some people were saying that preseason. I was a little bit hesitant to say that because this is the Lions.
Expectations. They had expectations this year.
Yeah, and their division is one of the fiercest we've seen in NFL history to this point in the season. So yeah, you got to give them the nod here. I went with the Dirty Birds as number 2 here. And maybe that's a little bit spicy, but they've been gritty, man, and grinding out a bunch of wins and playing good and played good in their losses. They've not been an easy game for anyone this year. And they're multiple in the ways that they can win. And in the event that Kirk Cousins does get hurt, they still have Michael Penix, who's probably a top tier backup. I think this team is built to go far. And I picked the Bucs to win this division preseason, and they're not out of it, but it doesn't look like it's happening for them unless they really, really start turning a corner here. So, yeah, I got the Falcons here, and I went with the Eagles number 3. I left the Commanders out here, and both the 7-2 teams, Bills and Commanders, didn't make my rankings, and I went with 6-win teams instead. Much kind of for what I was just talking about. They just added Marshawn Lattimore today, and that's a big addition. But it's hard for me to put championship level expectations on this team right now. And I still need to see them more and need to see them get through a few more of these tough games. But they very well could make their way into this conversation.
Yeah. Did you already give yours, Nolan?
No, I'll be quick here though, because I know we still got to do all of our
games. Yeah,
we're
kind of important to have like discourse.
A lot happened today, and yeah, we're at a good point in the season to have this conversation. Yeah. So one for me was Lions. I'm in agreement there. There's no, I don't think there's any team in the NFC right now that you would say, yeah, they're better than the Lions. Two, I did have Eagles. It was kind of a toss-up between Eagles and Commanders for me. I'm going Eagles. I just think they're a bit more complete than the Commanders might be. I know the Commanders are 7-2, but the Eagles have a bit more pieces on defense that can impact on that side of the ball, and their offense is looking like a juggernaut right now. I mean, Saquon is on another planet.
Craziest hurdle of all time.
If EA adds that into Madden, I'm never playing Madden.
Not just the hurdle though. It was he trucked some dude, then hit a spin move on a second dude, and then in the middle of the spin move did a 180 backwards hurdle of somebody else.
Watching
he made
elite athletes on the sideline go was just like one of those things where you're like, okay, this truly is like as special as OBJ's catch almost, if we're being honest. Like just something you may truly never see again.
Oh, yeah.
I believe he did that shit. Like straight up, could not believe it. Could not believe it. Can't really that happened like that.
I was watching Red Zone, and like after that happened, they cut away because they'd planned to cut away, and then they immediately came right back so you could watch the replay. They like cut back to it.
That was
hold up a second.
Yeah. Three, I had Commanders.
Yeah, let's keep going. Yep.
Word. I have the Lions too. Dan Campbell might be my favorite head coach, and I'm a Patriots fan, but damn,
I love it.
They're out of it, so I'm rooting for the Lions. You know, like they're also their fan base, bro. They've gone through misery before. It's not fair that they haven't gotten one. Like they should get one. Like they've ridden it out, and they should get one. Two, Commanders here. I'm taking them out after some thought. I don't know if that defense is going to be good enough. I know they played better recently, but they haven't really played anybody. Who have they really played and contained? Once you get down the stretch here, I think a team like the Eagles have a much better defense. Quinyon Mitchell, by the way, has been. He might win defensive rookie of the year. Like he's been good. And then my next team is the Falcons. Yeah, I agree with everything you said, Blake. Like Kirk Cousins looks like a different kind of player on this team. Like he looks like I know Minnesota is a really good environment for a quarterback and has a really good system and good players, but Kirk looks like he's like at home for the first time. Does that make like sense? Like, yeah, they have Algier too. They have Bijan, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney. Like Ray McLeod's getting in the mix. Their offensive line's really good. They have a good defense. Their pass rush that's the issue. You get up into a team like the Lions. Like I'm sorry, but the Falcons are not pressuring Jared Goff unless they send.
They have one of the lowest pressure rates in the league right now.
And the Lions have the best offensive line in the league. Like the Falcons are losing that battle, and in reality, they'll probably lose that game too because of that battle. So, but that's my three. I think I was the last to go. I could lead us into Bengals Ravens, right?
Yeah. So just like it's did we want to do certified sickos real quick and pissy pants player, and then maybe we just run picks and don't do touchdown scorers and all that stuff? I know you guys put it in, but
Like we can definitely do that. Yeah, let's.
You just have your thing, so we can't waste the new graphic.
Yeah. No. You're totally right. Thank you. So I'm gonna ripple a drop real quick for y'all.
Yeah, rip the Pissy Pants Player of the Week.
I had an accident.
You had an accident? What does that mean?
Go! Pissy Pants Player of the Week.
Shout out to Wayne for making that. His idea that was his. He ran with it. Really, really excited to add that to our show. And yeah, the Pissy Pants Player of the Week goes to Mike McCarthy, realizing he is going to lose his job very, very soon. He might be the next head coach to be fired. And this man's sucks. And y'all are starting to realize it. And
we all knew it.
I knew it the second I saw that on my phone. I laughed and go, they're cooked, and then went back to work. Let's look at it again. You know what? I'm gonna do it one more.
I had an accident.
You had an accident? What does that mean?
Go! Pissy Pants Player of the Week.
Deserved.
Yep, there he is.
Stuff.
And then our we doing certified sickos next?
Yeah, I'll go first. Someone's gonna take mine if I don't. I'm going JSN. Welcome to the realm of certified sicko, young brother.
Certified sicko of the week.
Played lights out. He had let me read his stat line real quick because it's unreal. It truly is unreal.
Gross.
He had 7 receptions on 13 targets. That's not great. For 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he had over 70 yards called back because of offensive holding. So he could have had like 9 for 250.
Yeah, he had like an 18.9 yards per target, which is fucking ridiculous on 13 targets. Yeah, sicko. You know what?
Certified sicko of the week.
I'm sorry, guys. I have new drops. I'm getting a little drop happy. My certified sicko of the week is actually Devon Achane. I know they didn't win the game, but when Tua's on this team on the field, like Devon Achane's catching 6 to 8 passes, getting 50 yards, scoring at least 1 touchdown through the air, and then on the ground he's probably getting like 10 to 15 carries, getting 70 to 100 to maybe 200 yards and possibly another touchdown, maybe 2. Like he is. Jalen Waddle he went from having a 24.3% target share on this offense to having a 13% target share on this offense.
He didn't have a target until the end of the fourth quarter. He was also queued up for Pissy Pants Player of the Week. I think that should be noted.
That was close. That was if I didn't watch Mike McCarthy throw the tablet on the sideline, Jalen Waddle would be Pissy Pants Player of the Week.
Honorable mention.
Yeah,
especially on the lateral, running straight backwards to be the furthest back person when you get tackled. Just disgusting.
Yeah, he had like 3 catches for -4 yards and a touchdown. Like what is that? What is
that's
life?
Reverse Jerry Moss stats. Jerry Rice.
Not Jerry Moss.
Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, reverse stat line.
You combine the two, that's
into the greatest receiver of all time.
All right.
Jerry Moss.
We are deeply in the hole. But that is I'm cool with it. There's plenty of stuff. Bahookie, you go next.
So I'm gonna stick with the Bills-Dolphins game and go with the homer pick here. Tyler Big Baller Bass with the 61-yard screamer at the death.
After missing the extra point.
Correct. And that was going to be the next thing that I was going to bring up because this guy has not been a certified sicko the last couple of weeks at all. He's been the complete opposite. And I myself have been one of his heavy critics and a lot of Bills Mafia. And I saw like in the post-game press conference or in the not in the press conference, the locker room, when he got the game ball, he was holding back tears. Like you could tell this guy had been reading some of the things that people had been saying about him, and I think this meant a lot to that kid. Obviously, the win means a lot, but for the kid's mentals too.
I saw his speech when they gave him the game ball. Yeah, he was pretty he choked up a bit. Like he was pretty yo, like for me to be able to deliver that win for you guys, that was like everything. Like that was pretty cool. Even though he cooked one of my wins in my fans, I should be 8-1, not 7-2. But okay.
First world problems.
All right, Nolan, who's your certified sicko this week?
Tyler's favorite Zach Moss replacement, Chase Brown.
Tyler won. Tyler won.
You know what?
Yeah,
we've been saying it all year. We're like, all right, eventually one of them's gonna pass the other. Who's it gonna be? Chase Brown, I think, with this game. Clear. Yeah, this game just takes him way past. And it helps.
And Zach Moss is on the IR, so
yeah, he has a neck issue, and also he just sucks. But anyway, they got Khalil Herbert for his 7th round pick, which I don't think is going to impact Chase Brown too much. Like Herbert's you need another change of pace back, like a heavier goal line, shorter situational back. I think that was a good trade for them. I like Khalil Herbert.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if only they could have got Joe Mixon for 7th.
Dude, that the Bengals, I'm convinced that's what's wrong. That's what's been the issue with this team. It's they haven't been able to get their run game going. They were trying to split time between Moss and Brown, and all the while Joe Mixon's getting 180 all-purpose yards every time and 2 touchdowns every time he touches the field. You're like, oh, that's where my offense went. Shit. So no, I think Brown is clear, it's clear cut now, and that was his breakout game. And people said he's too small to handle a workload like that. Back in college, he was handled 30 to 40 touches a game, that. He was his team's offense. But yeah. Who else? Who else are we?
Nope, that's it. So let's go into game picks.
On the lightning picks
47 minutes in, we can start our show.
Yeah. So we're not going to do touchdown players, and we're not going to do sickos of games. I know we wrote that down. Let's just do picks and spread, and kind of give a couple reasons.
Quick as hell.
So, yeah, we'll rocket it. So Bengals Ravens opens on Thursday Night Football. I'm taking the Bengals get back opposite of last time. This was a shootout in the last game. I think it'll be a shootout again, but I'm taking the Bengals to win this one. Joe Burrow's throwing 5 touchdowns and still looking pissed on the sideline, and I just think it feels like the perfect divisional game to run the Ravens off track.
I have the Ravens winning this game. They're playing at home. They won on the road in overtime, a game they were down. They came back. They didn't really run the ball they didn't play on their terms. I think that at home they could play on their terms. Derrick Henry goes off. Bengals +6 though, because that offense is gonna. Jamar Chase might score 3 touchdowns in this game because he was left out of that 5. Burrow threw 5, didn't throw one to Chase, and that's probably why they were both pissed off. Watch them come out and have a huge game. Go for it, Bahookie.
Yeah, I went with Ravens to win here, Bengals to cover. Kind of similar to what Tyler said. I see them grinding this game out, and controlling it and winning with the ball in their hand in the 4-minute drill, and Joe Burrow is just not going to have that last opportunity. But I think this will be a good game. But it's just really hard for me to pick against the Ravens right now.
Very rare good Thursday night game. Very rare.
Yep. I'll go next, and I can swing us into a crapshoot of a game with Giants and Panthers. Ravens to win here, Bengals to cover. I think the 6 margin is pretty hefty. I think this is going to be a field goal game, stereotypical AFC North matchup. Ravens and Bengals are tied in the division run right now. They need this win big time to kind of pole vault over the Steelers because the Steelers have yet to play a division game. So this would be a very good spot for Baltimore to kind of take control of the AFC North and continue moving in the right direction. Giants and Panthers. I took Panthers everything actually here. I mean, after how they just played against New Orleans, screw it. Why not? Go play a good game at home against the Giants. What do you have to lose? Go out and ball out. And
this Munich game.
Exactly.
This is not in Carolina. It's not at home.
Okay, Carolina East. I don't care.
East. This is Munich.
It's East.
Carolina.
Look at them at.
They're not like in Nevada.
Yeah, Carolina and Munich are sister cities. Everyone knows that.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, they look the
They're
exact
same country roads.
Carolina's a state. Carolina's two states. Carolina's actually 2 states.
We were all just talking at the same time. Nobody probably heard anything anyone said. But there's a door in North Carolina you can open, and it goes right to Munich. So
if they say country roads, it automatically it's like a location card in like whatever game you play. Right? Location card, it's Carolina.
Exactly.
Country roads card.
All right.
Panthers.
I'll go
it's just the surrounding Post Malone F1 Trillion concert going on around you. Which is
with
a fire
sacred treasure I summon.
All right. I too am going with the Panthers to win and the Panthers to cover here. It's the Bryce Young show, and it's not the Daniel Jones show. That's what I'm going with.
I'm going to go not Panthers. I'm going Giants here. I think the line that the Giants are going to field defensively is what Bryce Young has struggled with. So expect them to get a lot of pressure on him playing overseas off kilter. I don't think he gets back-to-back first wins. I'm going Giants on this one.
Giants covered. Tyrone Tracy's going to eat apart this defense just like Alvin Kamara did. I also just don't. I think the Giants' defense is better than the Saints' defense, and the Saints are just incredibly injured. Like they're like down pretty much all their offensive linemen, multiple linebackers, multiple linemen, multiple safeties, defensive backs are out for them as well. Like that team's in shambles. I think that's why the Panthers snuck out with a 1-point win. Against the team basically playing like an entire second unit with Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara. So yeah, give me the Giants, give me the Panthers. Did everybody go?
Yeah. Falcons, Saints next. Whip it.
All right. Yeah, Falcons to win. This is pretty easy. Saints, like I just talked about the Saints.
We all got the Falcons here. Let's go. We should just go to the next one.
Sorry, Saints fans. Michael Thomas was right on McGranny. They're not going to win another game this season.
He was flame broiling Derek Carr, and Derek Carr looked like he was about to cry at the podium. He was sitting there like, "Yo, man, I just want to be friends with all my teammates."
Too soft to be an NFL QB. Next.
Cool.
The next game is Bills Colts. I'm taking Bills to win and cover here. I think James Cook is going to have an absolute field day on this Colts defense.
Yeah, I was really the only one who kind of went semi against the grain here. I thought the Colts can cover here. I think that this could be like a low scoring game. Bills have had a number of slow starts this year and have been down at halftime for reasons unknown. And Jonathan Taylor once had 5 touchdowns against this team in the not so distant pass. And I've told you guys about what the issues are with the rush defense. So I think that this game could be closer than it should be, but I still expect the Bills to win.
Okay. All right. So next we got Broncos Chiefs.
For the Bills. I thought Nolan was going to go next.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Noel. Give your Bills picks.
Bills everything. Easy.
Yeah, so I'm digging the Bills too, but I just wanted to say something about your run game point about the Colts. The Colts are averaging like I believe it was 107-ish yards a game rushing with Anthony Richardson under center, and now they're averaging like 72 rushing yards a game.
It's almost like they can add an extra man in the box when you have a guy who can't walk.
Exactly. And you're playing 11 on 11 with Richardson on there, and it's a lot harder to cover Jonathan Taylor. So I don't know if you have to worry about that much, and that's why I'm taking the Bills. Also, like Joe Flacco, Gregory Rousseau, like if he gets in the backfield, Flacco is most likely seeing grass. So, yeah, Bills, Broncos, Chiefs. Now, give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Broncos +8. I don't like taking the Chiefs at anything over 7, man.
Yep.
They'll win their games, but over a touchdown covering that, they're just not interested in covering. They just want to win. That's all they care about.
I'm thinking the Broncos.
They haven't blown anyone out since the Dolphins in the playoff game, which the Dolphins quit in. And then I think it was like they beat the brakes off the Colts early last year.
They'll blow somebody out in the playoffs because it's the playoffs, but like in the regular season, if they get a 1-point win, they don't give a fuck. Like, why do they care?
I'm taking the Broncos to win. Couldn't tell you why. Just feels like the game. Like the inexplicable loss last year to the Raiders, where it just feels like it's due. It's hard to sweep division. I don't think people talk enough about how hard it is to sweep your division. I feel like they drop one. I feel like it's this one.
Bro, just give me one. Like, as soon as they lose a game, I'm just gonna be like, chasing that record. I don't want to see them have an undefeated regular season. If the
Bills won and the Chiefs lost, then like the game the following week would be for the top seed.
Team's legacy out your crosshairs, all right? I'm freaking sick of it. I'm sick of it. The Pats just ended their dynasty. Y'all need to chill out. I'm sick of that shit.
You had the good life for 15 years, brother.
No, I know, but like I thought it would last a little longer, like legacy.
To go off to college.
No. Legacy-wise. Like it's over. I knew it would end. But, like, I just thought there'd be a little bit more time in between. Like, all right, we saw this greatness. Now we get to watch this greatness. I thought I'd have a little bit of time for it to, like, cement itself, if that makes sense. Like,
there's a lot more good quarterbacks in this generation of football than there was in the last generation.
Yeah, it's just like, damn, bro. Like, if Mahomes, like, does go undefeated and gets a 3-peat, now I'm looking at my 6th Super Bowl wins. Like, what good is this? You know, like I don't want to feel like that. Like I'm just not ready for that. I want if I have to feel like that later, then like I'd rather that come in like 10 years or something. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys.
Well, when
nobody here understands what I'm talking about.
Nope, not at all. Nolan, what you got?
Let's go to bed, Grandpa. The Patriots dynasty was a long time ago.
It wasn't, but it really
Take your sleeping pills, Pappy, and go to sleep. Go rest.
When I was a young man.
All right, I'll go real quick here. There's my answer. You know who I'm taking. But the Broncos are going to cover. I think +8's pretty hefty. And it's a division game, and we just saw how close the Raiders made it. And that was out in Vegas. If this was in Denver, I'd be even more worried, but with it being Kansas City, you know who it is.
Okay,
I'm more or less the same boat here. Chiefs to win, Broncos to cover. Broncos have been a lot better than I expected. I think than a lot of people expected. They're in they could challenge them here, but yeah, it's hard to pick against the Chiefs right now. Moving into Vikings Jags. I got the Vikings here, and I got the Jags to cover. I feel like this could be like that game that they played against the Packers a couple weeks ago. where like they kind of fight and are scrappy, but they're still the Jaguars.
I'm going Vikings win and cover here.
Vikings
cover
everything.
here. It's 4 points is just not enough for me. If we were talking like
Yeah.
6, if we were talking 6, I'd probably be on the same side with you. But they covered against the Eagles at 7.5 last week. But like really, they were down 22-0 in like the fourth quarter. Like they really shouldn't. They had no business covering that football game. You know what I mean? Like the 4 points, the Vikings.
We got Patriots Bears next.
Is like.
Yeah, seems like we're mostly in agreement here.
Bears winning, Pats covering seems like the recipe on this one.
Give me the Pats
to win.
Pats. Why not? Yeah, why not? Screw it. The Bears look like dog poo coming out of the
Pats. The Pats could win this game. I mean, yeah, you got the Drake May and Caleb Williams.
Yo, can we take 1 second to talk about that final play against the Titans? I'm sorry.
No, that was a flash. Those are the things you want to see. Like, you guys didn't get the dub, but like those are the things you want to see in the rookie year. Like
he got 95 rushing yards too. Like that's
a better sequence than we've seen from Daniel Jones in the last 3-4 years. Like if you they didn't get the win, but like the team rallied around him.
Look at the team around him as well, and the players he's elevating, and like what he's doing with this just absolutely abysmal roster that he's got cooking around him. Like, give this dude some playmakers, and like we're back. We could be back, but like not now. That's later. But you gotta help the kid out. But
you guys have a legitimate chance of finishing second in the division, in my opinion. I don't think that's that hot of a take at all. You guys are the only other team I feel like has direction. Like the Dolphins kind of do, but I don't think it's the right direction.
If the Bears were playing how they were before the bye, I would have taken the Bears. But they've looked very, very bad over the last 2 weeks, and I just think the Pats have looked semi-decent.
Okay.
Caleb Williams, Romo Odunze connection starting to click.
Happening. Keep going. Let's keep going.
Keep moving.
Steelers Commanders next. I'm taking Steelers.
Give me the Commanders. Give me the Commanders. I don't think the Steelers have enough at the wide receiver position. Pickens is excellent. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they have more than that. Now that they have Lattimore is like that exact type of player that could get Pickens frustrated and like out of the game, like mentally. You know what I mean? So yeah, give me the Commanders there. Commanders to cover as well.
Yeah, I'm with Lamb here. I think I think the Commanders are going to put some points up here, and Steelers are a good team. I just don't think they're going to be able to hang with them, and I feel pretty decent about a 3-point spread at home for them.
Okay. Oh.
I got Commanders everything here. This is a good test for a team that is trying to continue to prove we're the real deal. Go beat a good team in the AFC that's got a tough defense, and you're going to solidify yourself a little bit more. Do I swing into 49ers Bucks?
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead. 49ers to win, but Bucks to cover +5, I think is steep. Bucks are easily capable of covering that. We saw what they just did with Kansas City. They can score without their top guys. They're able to stick around in ball games. It's possible, but I'm going to go 49ers. I think they're coming off a bye week. They want to get back into their own rhythm.
Yeah, I'm taking Niners to win here as well and Bucks to cover, but all I have to say is CMC. CMC.
Yeah, I'm with you, Big.
You had a little too much, brother.
No, I think he just said that.
I have about this much left to go, but no, I'm talking about I think the Bucs are going to win this game. I think they should have won the game against the Chiefs, if I'm being real here. They should have won for 2 at the end of that game. Your offense is down there. You know how overtime goes.
Yeah, he knows this is true. This was.
It's insane that they didn't go for it.
You know how overtime goes against the Chiefs, brother. Like, ever since Mahomes watched Tom Brady go off on him in that overtime, they were like, all right, we're never doing that again. We're going to do that to people. They were like, all right, we're sick of that. And they should have went for 2. And I think that Baker just man. Other than that one play, like they were in that game against the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the 49ers. Give me the Bucs.
Yeah. I went with the Bucs here, and I've been sticking on the Bucs through a number of these games, and I've been wrong. But I feel like this is. I think Lamb kind of summed it up. Like Baker's going to come play some football this week. That's what I really think is going to happen. I'm not sure if he still is this week after I know Joe Burrow had 5 passing touchdowns, but going into this week, he was leading the NFL in passing touchdowns. I know he's got some interceptions to go along with that. And this Niners team preseason, I picked to win the Super Bowl, and they have not looked like a Super Bowl team. What's up?
They're so hurt. They have so many injuries right now.
Yeah, both of these teams do. Jalen McMillan going down cost me a dub in one of our fantasy leagues. It's one of the toughest dubs I've taken in some time in fantasy. I'm really upset about it. But he should be back here. Both of the running backs looked like Rashad White had a really nice touchdown, and Bucky Irving. I like the combo they have here. And Bucs are at home, and they really, really need a dub here. It doesn't matter who it is, but following the games against the Falcons and the Chiefs, and they lost the game before the Falcons too. I'm pretty sure they lost 3 in a row now. I still think that they're a decent team in spite of that, and they have to prove it here.
Okay. We move into Titans Chargers next. I think Chargers for me, but Titans plus 7.5. That's just a big spread for a team that's not putting up a ton of points.
The Chargers are gonna roll on them.
The Titans I think are like the worst team in the NFL right now. The Chargers are kind of a tough team to get behind, but not against the Titans.
What the Chargers are doing right now is they're playing to their potential of their talent level on that team. Like, they've always been super, super talented, but just extremely, extremely not well coached. Harbaugh's in there and coaching them really well, and that team is really talented. They're playing to it right now, and that we have to respect them on that. And I think that's why I'm taking the Chargers minus a touchdown and a half, because they're just going to dominate that game on both lines of scrimmage, I think. But yeah, Nolan, did you talk about this game?
Yeah, Chargers to win, Titans to cover. I agree with Louie. I think 7.5 is kind of steep. I think Titans at least have that in them. But
Will Levis is playing. He's given up 2 touchdowns to the defense. All right, word. I think that we all talked about that. Let's move in Jets Cardinals, right?
Yeah,
yes,
I'm taking Cardinals on the upset on this one. It's a 1-point spread. I'll take Cardinals.
I'm with you, Louie. Last week I said don't bet on the Cardinals unless they're an underdog, and then they played the Bears, who decided to play prevent defense and give up a rushing touchdown for 50 yards to Emari DiMarcano. What are we doing? You're playing the Jets now. They're an underdog though again, so that's when you bet on the Cardinals for me.
Yeah, I'm with you as well with the Cards here. The Jets are another team who I've picked and had some level of expectations for throughout this year, and I'm tired of it. Honestly, I'm tired of picking the Jets and being wrong, so I'm going to pick against the Jets and probably be wrong that way, and I'll feel better about it.
You've had a really good pulse on the Cardinals this season. I think, if I'm remembering correctly,
I picked them right a few times.
Yeah, so I trust your gut here. I like them in this spot. Nolan, go for it. Then we can move into the next game. Got like
I
2 or 3
trust none
games
of you
left.
apparently, and I went with Jets.
That's okay.
I'm going to take them. I mean, we saw a bit of a shot of life in that game against Houston.
Can they do it 2 weeks in a row?
Exactly. So it's a question mark. I'm going to take the question mark and have the Jets here. I think we should save everybody's time on this next one except Bahookie. You think the Cowboys are somehow going to cover? We're all taking Eagles, and I'm going to
rush a quarterback
vomit throughout this entire game.
You guys usually play the Cowboys, or the Cowboys play the Eagles better in Dallas, and the Eagles play better in Philly usually.
Not this time. Zero.
It's really something to see the 180 that you made, because you were willing to die on that hill.
It's the Jonathan Mingo show, guys. What are we talking about?
Watching them play football is hard to watch. It's kind of like the Pats right now, where like they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run. If you can't do those two things, you're not winning many football games. Like like straight up, you're watching like cool things happen in other phases of the game, and then you
Cooper
just
Rush
know you're like, oh, where is he? He's going to rush like 20 yards.
And when he played for you guys last time, Dak hasn't been playing that great.
Do you guys remember the Cooper Rush is better than Dak conversation? Because like
those were conversations that happened. I'm not, but Dak's not in very good form right now. Hey, I didn't pick you guys to win the game. They still got Saquon. They're still going to grind the game out with the ball in their hand when it matters. But I wouldn't put it past the Cowboys to give their fans a little bit of hope before ripping their hearts back out again.
Their hearts have been burnt in the ashtray by Jerry's cigars already. Dead.
So
yeah.
Next we move into Sunday Night Football. Lions, Texans.
And game of the week by far.
Yeah, game of the week to me. I don't know. That Steelers-Commanders game could be pretty good. But I am taking the Lions. First time I've picked against the Texans all season. This just feels like the kind of game I feel like we will play better than a lot of people are expecting, given like the last week's performance. But this just feels like one of those heartbreaking, like Bates is going to kick a crazy long field goal and that's how it's going to lose. So I'm taking Lions win, Texans cover.
Lions to cover here. If you guys still had Diggs, Nico Collins never suffered that injury, and you guys are fully like ready to go on the offensive side of the ball, I might feel a little bit better. But you guys really rely off of your pass rush and your front seven being really good, and I think the Lions have the offensive line skill to like that strength of yours and kind of turn that into like a net like even at least. If that's the case, then I'm taking the Lions defensive line over what you have an offensive line at the moment. So like, yeah, give me the Lions win, Lions cover. They just get too dominant with the ground game. I know, sweetheart.
Okay,
dude, sock.
So I went against the grain here, and I chose the Texans to win. This is one of my return to the mean spiels that I like to give. The Lions are coming off of a blowout. The Texans are coming off of a game that a loss to a team that they should not have lost to. They're at home. They're in prime time here, and I like them to grind it out. And with Joe Mixon, and maybe you guys are getting Nico Collins back. I think that's a pretty big X factor here. But I know he's eligible to return from IR this week. That doesn't mean he will. I know sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks for that. And I think the Texans are going to pull this one out. Texans to win, Texans to cover.
I love it.
I'm going to go Lions to win, Lions to cover. this is honestly my game of the week. Like I had this circled, just because all of us coming down throughout the season, we're like, all right, Lions and Texans are two teams that if they can put it together are going to be really, really good. They've done that for the most part, and now they're going to meet up. So if the Lions can beat the Texans here, this will just add to their resume. So I have confidence that Detroit can go on the road. They know that big games like this are how you prove to everybody that you are ready for the postseason. So this is a big time matchup for them. Do you want me to roll into Dolphins Rams and close this out or start us out?
Yep, do it.
Rams to win, Rams to cover here. I actually think the Rams are starting to kind of put together a nice little rhythm. I know Puka Nacua forgot you can't throw punches in a football game and stay in the game. So hopefully he can figure that out this time. But I think they have the pieces to be able to defend home field here. This is easily going to be a field goal game. It'll come down to the wire, who will get the ball last type situation, but I'll take the Rams.
I'm going to take Dolphins on this one. I just feel like they need a win desperately, and I feel like they played really well against the Bills. So I think they come through on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm with you here. Do the Dolphins get up for this game? And if they do, they win. That's really how I feel. They played well in their last two games, which they lost. Against the Cardinals was a 1 pointer as well. And they have their identity back. And if they stick to that, I think they win this game. If the Rams are a decent test, this is actually a pretty sneaky good game here. The Dolphins' poor record kind of deflates it a little bit, but these are two pretty solid teams that are coming into this game right here. And yeah, I like the Dolphins to kind of like we were talking about the Bucks earlier. And like I feel like they've played well, but not well enough the last few weeks, and it's like now or never time for them.
Agree. I feel like this is do or die right here.
I'm still going to take the Rams here. I just think that Matt Stafford's kind of hitting his rhythm. Like DeMarcus Robinson is being a real factor for this team. They have Cooper Kupp back. If Puka, like we said, stays in the game for the full game, they have those three weapons plus Kyron Williams. Then you have Kobe Parkinson. Like I don't know, man. I just trust Sean McVay like 10,000.
It's a heck of a matchup.
Yeah, like I just trust McVay like 10,000 times more than I trust Mike McDaniels right now. Because at least McVay, like he might not run the defense, but like their defense is starting to like come alive now as well. Jared Verse is starting to like really pop right now in this defense. Braden Fiskey's playing well. Byron Young, Kobe Turner, all these young defensive linemen that they've been kind of stacking in preparation for Aaron Donald's retirement are kind of coming to fruition like right now. Like they're kind of budding into really good players, and I think that that's going to be the main problem for the Dolphins in this game. So yeah, I think that's our show though. We definitely went a little long, but under the circumstances, I think we did a pretty damn good job going through our game picks in about 30 minutes. But yeah, we talked about all the big trades. We talked about our contenders for both sides, both conferences. And yeah, it looks like we had a pretty decent night viewership-wise. We didn't get as many comments as we would normally get, but it's okay. We'll live for that next week.
Everybody's watching election results, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got it on one of my TVs. It's just muted. But yeah, so that's our show, Fifth Down Territory. We come to you every single Tuesday at 7 o'clock. We bring to you our game picks, Sickos of the week, our recaps. Sometimes we have these big thought bubble types of episodes like this. And yeah, go check out stadiumrant.com, at stadiumranthq on Twitter, X, Facebook, and yeah, HQ is also our YouTube subscriber. So just go and subscribe on that button there as well. You guys have anything else to say before we end it?
Nope.
No, heck of a show.
Down with the Chiefs.
Over halfway through the regular season. And I had a pretty good week this week. I made up some ground picking games. I saw Nolan's got about 5 games on me. Yeah, my sticker's out in my car. I did vote.
I also voted, but my daughter wanted my sticker, so she has it out in the living room.
I was under 500, and now I'm like almost 20 games over 500. So I've had a nice comeback there. Yeah, Nolan.
Louie still leading us.
Yeah, Louie's still dominating this season.
I just got to start putting these picks in. If I'm being honest, might help my betting.
Yeah, what do we do? What are we doing here? But all right. On that note, we do have to go. We are at our limit. So
everybody have a good night. We'll see you next week.